welcome to Talk a Good Games match preview of West Ham United against Manchester City. First versus fourth in the Premier League. Gonzo, let's kick it off with your thoughts on our opponents as always, please.
Yeah, sounds good there, doesn't it? First versus fourth. Who's fourth? Oh, we're fourth, right? Sorry, yeah. Yeah, I've got to say I was really pleased that City won the European trophy, and I was pleased for the fans, I think, primarily, because I do think they're good fans, and I think they're proper fans at Manchester City. I don't particularly like the way that money has driven the game. I don't particularly like the disparity between, some of these these high end clubs, if you like, that have been basically nation states. They're run by nation states. I hadn't liked that, but I found myself, and I've been quite critical of it over the years, but I found myself being pleased for the City fans. So, because I've got to say, I thought they were really nice to us, actually, Geo. When we won the Conference League, there was a lot of City fans were on the comments saying, "Oh, well done," basically, "Well done, West Ham. We're pleased for you. Hopefully, we can go and win another one." And it was very much almost a case we could go and win a trophy for England as well. And I liked that. And I sort of contrasted that quite a lot with a lot of the interactions we were having with the Arsenal fans at the time, because it was rumoured that Declan Rice was going to go there. So you had City fans saying, well done, well done. You had over Arsenal fans saying, oh, it's a tin pot trophy and all the rest of it. So I like them. I like the way they conducted themselves because they're Arsenal stuff, because of the difference, I think, between in the way that Mikel Arteta behaves and the way that Guardiola behaves. I was pleased to see him beat Arsenal to the league title as well, actually. But I don't think it's healthy for any team to win year after year after year. So I'd sort of prefer someone else to win it this year. But I also think they've maybe got their house a little bit in order. They've got a load of financial restrictions hanging over them, which they're going to try and string out through a legal process for as long as they possibly can, City. But I feel that they are now starting to generate more of their own funds. So it's almost like they had a hell of a kickstart, like $1.5 billion of a sort of cash injection over the years. I now feel, because the way they're selling players, I just sold Cole Palmer to Chelsea would be an example. James Trafford, great goalkeeper, actually, by the way, to Burnley before he'd even played a game for Man City. And so they're now starting to generate their own income, basically, Geo. And so I think they're probably going in the right direction.
Yeah, I was really happy for Man City fans, because at the end of the day, whether we agree with how City are run or the charges lobbied against them, it's not the fans' fault. The fans have got absolutely nothing to do with this whatsoever. And I find it quite a strange thing. Like Newcastle got it as well. It's almost like other fans tell Newcastle fans you shouldn't enjoy it because of who owns your club. And it's got nothing to do with them. They've supported Newcastle prior to their new ownership, so why shouldn't they be allowed to support Newcastle through the new ownership? It's possible to support the club but also not be happy with how their owners do things in their own country. And I apply that to Man City. Man City fans were there when they were crap, when they were struggling. Yeah. Those City fans were there, and there's a lot of those would have been there present when they won the Champions League and stuff, and they're living a fairy tale. I've got nothing against them whatsoever. I was rooting for them in the final. I was hoping they'd win the Premier League, and again, this season, if they were to go on and do something in the Champions League, I would remain happy for them. I've got nothing against Man City. It'd be interesting, though, because it feels like they're going through, I wouldn't say a rebuild, but there's been some major transfers at their club this summer. And when Gundogan was leaving, I feel like that's a massive loss for them, and not one that before, when Aguero left or Yaya Toure left, it felt like they'd almost finished what they had to offer at City. It felt like the natural ending for them a little bit, or they were already replaced. But when Gundogan left this summer, I thought, well, there's someone that actually I think still got plenty to offer City. Is still a massive player for them.
Yeah.
And I'm still unsure if they've replaced him. In terms of numbers they brought in 2 players to replace him, essentially. But in terms of quality, I don't know, because I do think he was a special player. What did you make of the summer transfer business, Gonzo? I mean, for those that aren't aware, there are 3 major players leaving. Cole Palmer, as Gonzo mentioned, went to Chelsea for 42 million. Mahrez is left for 30 million, and Laporte eventually went as well for about 23 million. But the 4 players they brought in, starting at the bottom, Kovacic for 25 million from Chelsea. They got Jeremy Doku, who West Ham were linked with. He's gone into City as well, as has Nunes from Wolves. And then the big one for 77 million was Gvardiol, this centre back. What did you make of that business?
Well, I think Gvardiol is probably going to be the outstanding defender going forward in Europe over the next few years. So I thought that was an outstanding signing and an upgrade on Laporte, who'd been a good signing for them. Don't get me wrong. Absolutely right on Gundogan. That's how do you replace that? Particularly, he was captain in the team for an awful lot of the time as well. And he's towards the end of his career at Man City, scored loads of goals, important goals as well. That's really something that's worth pointing out. Actually, you know, we're not dealing with a player here who would score the 5th goal in a 5-0 win. He was scoring, as they would call it in ice hockey, a game-winning goal. So, yeah, big player to lose there. Certainly, I think the one thing that is, it's not far be it from me sat in my shed to question Pep Guardiola. Sounds quite bizarre, doesn't it? But I still feel that they've not sorted out the fullback situation, actually, in terms of Cancelo. I thought was one of their most important players. Had a little bit of I think they might have had a falling out. I don't know. He went out on loan last season, then came back. And I thought, well, he's either going to be sold or they're going to replace him. I don't ever feel they really replaced him because obviously he could play on both sides. And to see Nathan Ake there playing on sort of left side, it's a weird one. It's a weird one to see for Zinchenko playing for Arsenal and then Cancelo goes. I never thought they fully sorted that out, but it works and it's working wonderfully because he can make these players do different things and play in different positions. And so, and I should say Kovacic as well. He's one of those players that for the first time I saw him, I've always highly rated. And I think he might be 29, 30 now, but he's one of those, I've always thought he was brilliant, not just highly rated, like one of the best, most skillful midfielders I'd seen. So I feel, whilst I've been watching it, I'm always waiting because I remember seeing him at 19 and saying, oh, this guy's going to be brilliant. And I feel like I'm still now watching him saying, oh, no, this guy's going to be brilliant. It used to be the future. And I just wonder if, when that's going to happen. But I think if anyone can unlock that, it's Pep Guardiola. So that would not surprise me if that turns out to be a really, really good signing.
I disagree about the fullbacks. They don't really need them. Pep, he doesn't really play with traditional fullbacks anymore, with John Stones doing this sort of hybrid defensive midfield role and Rico Lewis coming through the academy as well, who looks like he's been playing for Man City's first team for years. And Kyle Walker's still there, even though that it looked like he was going to be leaving, and I think he would have been a big loss. But the way that City play now with sort of 3 centre backs, if you like, I don't think they need that fullback sorted. And Ake can play left back when they do shuffle over. Gvardiol can also cover that area of the pitch as well. And then Akanji's been superb for them. I've always thought he was a good centre back. When he went to City, I thought, is he good enough for City? Maybe, but he's been far better than I expected. They've still got Ruben Diaz, so they've got loads of talent in there. And I think it suits the way that Pep wants City to play, actually, to have those sort of ball playing centre backs. And like we said, the role of John Stones, which every manager seems to be trying to copy now a little bit. Everybody seems to be switching. What they do, everybody's sort of gone away from the traditional fullback and actually playing centre backs at fullbacks now seen as almost like the new thing. And you've got suspicion that we might be doing it with Mavropanos. Are we a way to do it now? Are we now going and got someone that can play centre back and right back for that reason, so that we get away from the traditional fullback role? We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, let's have a bit of fun, Gonzo. Time to do some predictions. What are they winning this season?
The Premier League and the Champions League.
Not the Carabao Cup or FA Cup.
Whatever. No, we'll win that one. We can have that.
It's difficult though. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? Can you see anyone stopping them in the Premier League?
Well, I sort of hope not. But I want someone to beat it, but Chelsea don't look like they're ready yet. Manchester United are awful. Are just a club on decline. Liverpool, I mean, it's hard to see how it's not just they keep selling players, but there seems to be constant unrest there as well. So I think that's very different. Had a really peachy couple of years, didn't they, Liverpool? And I feel they're short of that. Everything was going right for them there, and I just think Van Dijk's not as good, and Trent Alexander-Arnold, you can get him now, and Mane's not. There's lots of reasons. I think that the Arsenal one is I hope. I hope I'm really I don't I it's funny how it's gone. I really were on my radar 2 years ago, Arsenal. Now I think I dislike them more than Tottenham, quite frankly. So I sort of hope that they don't do anything. Is there anyone else Newcastle can't do it because they got the
Tottenham.
European football? No. But Tottenham, I feel, are going to be. Tottenham are going to have the Tottenham fans have a really good season. I really, really enjoy it there. But anytime they play a team that can attack, teams are going to put goals past Tottenham. So no, I think not, Gio. I think not. If anyone can challenge them, it'll be Arsenal.
I think it'll be Liverpool. I've been very
Really?
impressed. Yeah, I've been impressed by Liverpool so far. We can consider what they're doing. I mean, we'll discuss it next week when we play them. But I think what Klopp's done in the middle of the pitch is magnificent, actually. And I think he's assembled a midfield that's there to be reckoned with. But they've hit the ground running, which is just as important. But I also agree with you. I think they'll win the Premier League. I don't think they'll win the Champions League. Now, I have no reason for that other than they've only done it once, and I know it sounds silly, but that's obviously the trophy that Pep struggled with time and time again, and he's got it now. But I do just think, can he do it two on the bounce? He's had to wait that long to do it once, and also, Kevin De Bruyne, who was obviously one of their best players, out till New Year, and now obviously he'll be back for knockout stages. But you can't rely on him anymore. He just feels so injury prone that it's a big loss, actually. So while I spoke about bringing in two players to replace Gundogan, I do feel that one of those signings is almost to half replace Kevin De Bruyne as well. And of course, they were trying to get Paqueta. Last question then. Feels a bit silly, but players you admire. Give us a couple.
Yeah, I mean, I really like... there's just so many, isn't there? I think the goalkeeper's really good. Sort of quite key to them, actually. We don't mention him much, do we? Yeah, be sport for choice. The Rodri, really sort of a key player to them. There was a whole thing about they'll never replace Fernandinho. Well, they did. Foden's, always someone that impressed me. I mean, De Bruyne is such a quality player. As I was pointless talking about Haaland as well. I mean, just got so many there, haven't they? Really, take your pick. Basically, wonderful footballers. I know he wasn't. This wasn't for City, but I was very impressed with the last few games. Even the last game played for England as well. I think Walker, I don't know if he can step up a level, but he appears to have stepped up a level.
I'll pick out three different ones. John Stones, I think, has been superb, actually, for Man City, and the new role. He looks like he's been playing centre midfield all his career, really.
Yeah.
Bernardo Silva, I think, goes under the radar quite a lot. I just think he's such a terrific footballer and one of the best dribblers in the Premier League. The way he moves the ball close to his feet and weave in and out of players as well. I don't think he gets enough praise, and it's understandable why when City are sort of buying these superstars and they've got other players there that make the headlines. Bernardo Silva isn't always the player that's getting them. You used to spoke about Gundogan getting important ones, but I do feel that Silva is just that trustworthy player that just makes things happen. I admire watching him quite a lot. He's got a little bit of a dirty streak to him, but I quite like that, actually, because sometimes when you get these flair teams that pass the ball about and stuff like that, you can lose that little bit of nitty-gritty about you, but actually they've got that in Bernardo Silva. So if somebody's needing a bit of a thumping, he's there on the pitch to give it out, but boy, can he play as well. And lastly, Alvarez, talk about stepping up. I think this season he's really, Pep's put him in, and part of the reason probably that Mahrez has been so is that we don't need you, we've got Alvarez now, and he did wonder, with Haaland, would Alvarez get adequate game time? Well, Pep's showing actually I can play them both in the same team. I don't need to play one or the other. They're both playing. I think he's probably been the player that impressed me the most for Man City this season when I watched him, Alvarez. And I'm hoping that, because of his travel and that he's maybe not okay to start against us. Similar situation that we've got with our Alvarez, actually. But we'll wait and see. Anyway, enough about Man City. Shall we talk about West Ham?
Yes, mate. Yes, indeed.
Well, before we do, we're going to talk about our boats. We've been running boats since we moved to the London Stadium, which are situated on the canal behind the Billy Bond stand. As you come out of Westfield and you go past the Aquatic Centre, over that big bridge with a massive second biggest screen in Europe in front of you. They're down on the canal to your right-hand side. we've got our boats this weekend. So if you want a ticket for this weekend only, the link is in the description. It says boats for Saturday with a link. Just click it. But if you want to grab yourself a season ticket, which guarantees you entry to every single event that we do at the boats, we're open before every single West Ham game. And the season ticket covers all games, including any domestic cup ones and the European games as well. Then please get in touch with us. Our email address is hammerschat@gmail.com. We'll send you the information. You can grab your season ticket. All proceeds are going to Iron supporting food banks. Hammers Chat no longer make any money off the boats. We haven't done for a couple of seasons now. All proceeds go to the food bank. And so far, we've raised food and stuff worth £29,000 for Iron supporters. They do fantastic work for families in need in Newham. So if you wish to support them and join Hammers Chat as well, you can do. On Saturday, there will be a cash donation bucket at the gate, so bring a couple of coins if you can. And like I said, all money goes to the food bank. Team news for West Ham. Despite a scare earlier on the week, James Ward-Prowse is back in training. Mavropanos, who hasn't featured yet for the Hammers, was on duty for international, got a goal as well. Yes, he did. And Soufal is also fine despite missing sort of the second game for Czech. He's also in training. Jesse Lingard can feature should he sign in time. If Jesse Lingard signs for West Ham before Friday at noon, he could be included in the matchday squad as he continues training with West Ham. David Moyes has cast doubts over Edson Alvarez due to his travelling back from international duty. And Mohammed Kudus could be in line for his first start for West Ham after scoring 2 goals for Ghana during the international break. But generally speaking, it's almost a full fit bill of health for West Ham. So there could be 1 or 2 senior players not making the bench this weekend for the Hammers. Right, Gonzo. Time to discuss what me and you want to see. Not what David Moyes is going to do, what we fancy seeing. I do feel like the team picks itself a lot, but I also do feel there's maybe 1 or 2 spots up for grabs, actually. Would you like to start with your goalkeeper, please?
Yeah, Alphonse Areola, the goalkeeper, has been in fine form. And the new number 1, so to speak. So, yeah, he's got to be in there.
I completely agree. Would you like to see a formation change? Because obviously with Mavropanos, there's a suspicion that maybe that's what David Moyes is going to be inclined to do. Or would you like to stick with the back 4?
No, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'd stick to exactly what we've been doing, mate.
And your personnel?
Exactly the same back 4 as last time, which would be obviously Soufal, Zuma, Agerd, and of course the much improved Emerson.
Are you not tempted to put Mavropanos in there for Agerd? We've been a bit suspicious by his performances, shall we say?
No, because I've not seen Mavropanos yet. I've got high hopes for him. I think he's going to force his way into the team eventually. But he does it like a right-sided central defender. I do not like it when Agerd plays on the left-hand side. So
Zuma.
Zuma plays on the left-hand side. Throw him on the right. So no, I'm going to keep it exactly as he is.
I completely agree, actually. While I've also been a little bit wary with Agerd, I don't know Mavropanos. If we'd gone and signed Guardiola, I'd be like, get him in now next to Kurzuma. But we haven't, so I don't know enough about Mavropanos to say anything. And while Agerd has looked a little bit shaky, I don't think he's done anything drastically wrong. Yes, he got sent off against Chelsea, but I think he's redeemed himself since then. But I guess this is what you try and do as a manager. You want to try and cut out problems before they become a problem, essentially. The last thing we want is to play Man City and Agerd makes a howler and we all go, well, we've seen that coming. The warning's been there for the last few weeks. The other reason for leaving Agerd in is because we have the European game on Thursday now. So there's a fixture coming up where actually you can now get Kerr and Mavropanos into that team, get them game time. And maybe against Liverpool, you change the back 4. But for now, I think we, as you say, keep it as it is. Now, moving into your midfield 3, I feel like I know what you're going to do, and I feel like I want to do the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Edson Alvarez, James Ward-Prowse, and Lucas Paqueta would be my 3 in the middle, certainly.
Are you looking forward to seeing Paqueta, given that he was on the verge, shall we say that, of joining Man City?
I'm just generally looking forward to the game. Yeah, that's definitely one of the stories that would be really good. I do find that's another story, a little subplot within there, which is Núñez was our first choice. We didn't get Núñez. He went to Wolves, so we got Paqueta. Paqueta was Pep's first choice. He didn't get Paqueta or Paqueta, whatever we're saying. So when I got Núñez, so yeah, that's a real interesting one, really. But yeah, he's going to be mega up for this game. He really will. He's going to be showing. It's not proving anyone wrong. He's just be proving everyone right. West Ham are going to prove you right. You were right to keep me. Pep are going to prove you right that you were right to want me. I think I think we might see something special from him actually.
Yeah, I mean, he can't have any complaints really that the Man City thing fell through, because it's understandable why City pulled out. Like you said, it's not like City don't rate him or decided he wasn't worth it. It's just that they decided it wasn't worth the risk with his betting allegations hanging over his head. But I expect to see a Paqueta with his chest puffed out. We've seen it, both games. When the first one was when he was linked to City against Bournemouth, and he came out and strutted his stuff. Said, "Don't worry about transfer speculation. I'm here to. I'm still a West Ham player." Then the second one was after the betting allegations. He came out and said, "Don't worry about that. I'm still here to play for West Ham. I moved to City's fell through. Don't worry about it." And he put on a performance which showed how committed he is to West Ham. And he's called out this fake rumours on social media saying that he's unhappy. Called out, said, made up story, fake news. I'm happy. His missus was putting up posts saying they're happy at West Ham. This was before the City move fell apart. So I've been very impressed by his commitment. I expect to see not a reaction, but like you said, somebody is going to go out there and showcase what he can do. Now the front three is where it's interesting. So you're going to have Bowen on the right. I know that. And I think you're going to have Antonio up front. But the last place, obviously, Said Benrahma's had that position for all but bar one game, but been very underwhelming.
Yeah, well, I think so. I thought when he was it against Brighton, I thought he changed the game, helped change the game against Brighton. So I thought he was good in that one. I thought in that game, I thought he was outstanding. Actually, I thought the other three was pretty damn average. So I think we've seen a bit of all of it. We're going to have to play counter-attacking football, and we need to counter-attack quickly. And you know what I'm going to do, and you know what I want to do. And I do want to put Mr. Kudus in there. I want to see this. I have a feeling we may have an outstanding player on our hands. I just want to point out, because there'll be someone who says this, I don't think David Moyes will do this. I don't either. This is just what we want to see. I expect David Moyes to put Lucas Paqueta on the left-hand side, and then to midfield three of James Ward-Prowse, Edson Alvarez, and Thomas Souček is what I expect. I also got to thank somebody on yesterday's video posted in the chat. He said Alvarez didn't play in the last game for Mexico, and he was flying home from the East Coast, which is pretty important. There's a big difference in terms of jet lag. Team flying back from the East Coast of the United States and flying back from the West Coast. A lot of difference, actually. So, in terms of travel and whatnot. So it might just be enough that maybe David Moyes was playing possum on his comments about Alvarez. But I'd play Kudus on that left-hand side. I really would. I think defensively, I think even though we'll play defensive, I think we can go for this. I'd like to go for it.
I completely agree with what you're saying on both aspects here, which is what you want to see and also what you think Moyes will do. I think Moyes will do what you're suggesting, but I also want to see Kudus in there. I think he's a good player as well. He's not afraid to do the defensive work. He's not somebody that's going to stand up in the attacking third. I don't do defending. Yeah. It's not like Dimitri Payet was guilty of at times, but you put up with it because of how damn good he was. Kudus is somebody that's willing to battle and do the not the dirty work per se, but he's willing to get stuck in a little bit. And I think we might have a bit like what Paqueta is. I think I'd say it's similar to that, which is at times I'm sure he'll switch off and not track back like he's supposed to. But he's also someone that you might actually be surprised that his work rate and stuff. But I agree with you. We've got to pose a threat, and maybe Said Benrahma deserves another chance. He perhaps does, but I think we have to pick the ones that are most likely to do something against Man City. And I think Kudus, Bowen and Antonio, that's a front three that's going to get me excited. If I've seen that front three inside, here we go, we're going to get a goal today. One of those three are going to do something. And with Paqueta supplying them from deeper midfield, you've got a chance. And Kudus can, to use Gonzo's favourite phrase, gain territory against them, and likely up against Kyle Walker as well. So it's going to be a tough battle, but he'll have the pace to keep up with Kyle Walker. Don't know, but what he will do is he's got that direct running to cause Kyle Walker problems going backwards, actually, and any space that he does leave for us out on that side, Kudus can do damage in there. Now, this is not his best position. I actually think this is possibly Kudus's worst position in terms of either play him on the right, play him on the left, play him up front, or play him deeper in midfield. I actually think this is possibly where I'd least like to see him. But the other places aren't up for grabs yet. Antonio's got that role. Bowen's got it. James Ward-Prowse has got it because that's where I'd expect Kudus to play if he was to play deeper on the right-hand side. So he's on his left foot. So he's almost going to have to make do with playing out there. It's almost like his apprenticeship a little bit. You go out there and show us what you can do, then we might consider moving you across the pitch. But yeah, that's the team I want to see. That's the team Gonzo wants to see. Now, before we discuss the busy September West Ham have and how we're feeling ahead of the game, just want to point you in direction of the Hammers Chat Patreon. Promoted it for a little while because Patreon has been making some changes behind the scenes. And the big change is you can now sign up for a free trial. We're offering it for our mild addicts only, but you can get a 7-day free trial. Now, warning, obviously, when you sign up, just like any other trial, you're asked to put in your payment details. You're not charged at that point, but 7 days later, you are automatically charged. So just for clarity and for transparency, it automatically charges you if you do not cancel your membership after the 7-day free trial. But if you fancy having a little look and seeing what it's all about, then you can go to patreon.com/hammerchat, or the link is in the description. But like I said, it's the mild addicts only. It's the middle tier. It's quite clear because it'll say join in the middle, and it'll say start your 7-day free trial. It's quite clear which one is a free trial, but you will access more content. I'll have my opposition prediction on Manchester City. Myself and Gonzo will be live on Saturday morning with our breakfast show ahead of the game. Then on Monday, we will be doing our player ratings, and that's just based on the Man City game. We've got all the other videos as well. We've got Hammerlytics, which Gonzo's doing with Jack. You've seen the video with Charlie and Jack earlier on in the week, hopefully. So Gonzo will be diving in with your questions for Jack. We've also got the Patreon podcast. Myself and Gonzo have started a new series this season. Hey, don't blame me and Gonzo. Last season's patron said, can we have you doing a podcast where it's not about football? So we've obliged. It's gone down quite well. Usually we're just moaning about delivery drivers and technology and stuff like that. But there's loads more content. Head on over there. And that doesn't include with the fact we're giving away tickets for the Man City game this weekend. Yep. You also get online discount at our online store. You get entry into our giveaways. And we've got some top prizes coming up in our giveaways, which may or may not include a program from the final signed by Mr. Jared Bowen. But anyway, patreon.com/hammerchat. Thank you to anybody that goes and gives a bash. Gonzo, you feeling optimistic?
Yeah, absolutely. I am actually. I am feeling optimistic. There's no doubt about it. I was just thinking when you were talking about Kudus's position there. You've gone all green.
Yeah,
there it is, Jared Bowen. That's the Conference League program there, signed by Jared Bowen.
I've also got 2.
It wasn't Geo that signed it. It definitely was Jared.
Yeah, I paid a bit of money for it as well. So, better be Jared Bowen.
As you mentioned. So I was sort of thinking, talking about Mr. Bowen there, David Moyes got a real opportunity to actually throw a bit of a tactical curveball, not in terms of what he's doing. We all know he's going to sit back and try and play on a counter-attack, but actually say to these players, right, at some points during the game, Paqueta and Kudus, you're going to swap positions. Paqueta, you're going to go onto the left. Kudus, you'll go attacking midfield. And every so often, Bowen, Kudus, swap wings. And I just think that really gives everybody, something to think about. Probably our team as well, actually. But I do. I'd love to see something like that. But I am looking forward to it. But that's what starting the season so well will do for you. It's a bit like the European Super Cup, this, isn't it? In many respects.
Yeah, the champions of Europe against the champions of Europe.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like it. I'm actually really looking forward to this. Would I say I'm optimistic? I think that might be a bit strong. I'm expecting to get beat just because Man City are the best team in the country, the best team in European football, essentially, where we played the creme de la creme here. But I'm not fearing it. I'm quite hopeful, actually. And I do think we've got the ability to cause City a little bit of problem. I think we've got the ability to frustrate them. Obviously, City do have, unlike Luton and unlike what we discovered against Brighton, is that City do have the players to unlock us even if we are camped on the edge of our 18-yarder. Yeah. Sometimes City can say that suits us, actually. We're just going to play it outside your box, and eventually we're going to dink that ball into Haaland, who only needs 1/2 chance a game to score a goal. So they will cause us problems. Like I said, I do expect to lose, but like you said, 10 points in 4 games. It takes the pressure off this game. It really is. And do you know something? We've got 5 games for the remainder of this month. We've got 5 games in 15 days. So there's a lot of football coming up for West Ham. This is actually the least important fixture as far as I'm concerned. After this, we've got the European game. Then we've got Liverpool. And then we've got the Carabao Cup, and then we've got Sheffield United. I'd prefer to win the other 4 than this one. This one would feel better because we're beating the champions of England and the champions of Europe. We're beating them. It would be incredible. But I think in terms of evidence that you can be hopeful for the rest of the season, I think the other fixtures are probably a little bit more important for it. And I'm saying that now in case we lose, and I do the review and say, oh, well, I can move on from this pretty quickly. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. All the pressure's on Man City. And if we lose, we might drop down to 8th in the Premier League. I'm sure I'll be okay with that one come Sunday morning. But I just hope that we see enough positives to take from the game, Gonzo, which allows us to be optimistic when we play Liverpool next week. The last thing I want is to see us wave the white flag from the first minute, like we can do at times against these sides, so that when we go to do the the Liverpool preview next Friday, we're saying, well, we're going to lose because of what we saw against Man City. We're now going to Anfield. We're not even at home anymore. We're now going to Anfield. We know what's going to happen. We're going to play for a 0-0 and probably lose 2-0 comfortably. I just don't want that. I don't want to see that attitude. Every time we get a corner, we've got a chance. The problem is getting the bloody corners. But anyway, any final words from yourself? Plus your all-important score prediction, please.
No, just really looking forward to it. I'm pleased football's back. It's dragged, I've got to say, the last couple of weeks. I don't get me wrong, I enjoy my summer holiday. I enjoy my break without football. Once it starts, I like it to carry on. Do you know what I mean? And not stop. I'd rather have an extra 2 weeks before it starts, and then we just carry on. But it's dragged a little bit. It's been it's been quite boring, the international break. No doubt about that at all. But it's been, what has been nice is hearing this stuff come through, like Mavropanos has scored and Kudus has scored again, and just hearing all this stuff. I think
Souček turned into Zinedine Zidane with his assist.
I still haven't watched it yet. I need to. You've reminded me now. I need to go and watch that as well. I'm sure David Moyes will be looking to get Souček back into the team. What we do have now are serious options off the bench. So if David Moyes can make his substitutions a little bit early, then it's going to be very, very interesting, I think. So if he can be brave enough to actually play pretty much the team that we want, I think we've got a serious chance. I really do. And I am confident, actually. And I think if he plays that team, I don't know why, I can actually see West Ham winning. Oh, excuse me. Oh, my butt plug fell out.
Even they fell over.
Absolutely, you can believe it. He was rejecting it. So I'm playing. The headphones are playing no part in what he's about to say.
This is not our owner.
Absolute imposter. I think we're going to win 2-1 and go top of the league.
I'm not going to say that, but Gonzo, while I'm chatting, have you got your phone on you? I've just sent you the video of Thomas Souček's assist. Make sure you got no volume on, because I don't want any copyright infringements because you've got the commentary.
Right. I got it muted from the porn earlier.
So we'll get Gonzo's live reaction as I chat. I'm not confident because I think because of what I think we'll see, and we've discussed it. Paqueta on the left, Souček in the middle. I just think it's a bit too defensive. I think what it does do is it removes 1/3 of your counter attack when we do, and we can counter attack. I think we're going to have 20% of the ball. And it's going to be a case of how long can we keep Man City out for, and can we do anything on the counter attack and with set pieces. But we're way to play a team of superstars. We're way to play the team that's most likely to win the Champions League and the Premier League. This is not going to be an easy fixture. So the reason I'm going to say 2-1 Man City, I think we'll maybe score. So I'll say 2-1 Man City, but that's just a reflection of Man City, not us. And I'm not going to let this game get me downbeat or downhearted for the rest of it. I'm going to be looking forward immediately to Thursday night's game. And you're watching Thomas Souček giving an assist there, Gonzo.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting the fancy dancing feet, actually. It was.
Told you. I've not seen a move like that.
I actually think that was better than Bellingham's assist for Harry Kane when England scored. I think it was their third against Scotland.
All right. Anyway, I enjoyed the first half of international break, not so much the second half of it, but I'm glad West Ham's back. So, hopefully Thomas Souček can do a little bit of that. Like I said, 4 years he's been here. I've not seen a move like that in a West Ham shirt. So,
no.
Can we have that one, please?
I bet his headphones fell out as well. Who's this?
David Moyes watched that footage and went to try and sign him.
Absolutely.
That guy's good. Oh, okay, we got him. But anyway, there you go. So I'm saying 2-1 City, and Gonzo's saying Did you say 2-1? You said 2-1, didn't you?
That's a 2-1 West Ham, yeah.
Well, hopefully you're correct. On this one, I would love to be wrong. But we will be live on Saturday at 1:55. So if you're not going to the game, please do join us on this channel. Myself and Gonzo will be doing a live build-up show where we'll be getting a little bet together, and hopefully one of you guys can win some Wonga on Saturday afternoon. But if you've enjoyed this preview, please do drop a like on Scary Damage Chat. And hey, bought tickets, Patreon, free trial, everything's in the description. Myself and Gonzo, catch you in a bit.